I don't appear on camera in my videos, and I very rarely do one that's unscripted. But today, I'm going to do both. We need to talk. Now, in the run-up to IAE, we've had the usual slew of leaks, around two ships that are coming out at that point, the Galaxy and the Cutter. Now, out of respect for what CIG have said this morning, and for those that just don't want the spoilers, I'm not going to show any of this in video, but Google it, you can find it if you're interested. The key thing that CIG have released this morning is that, unfortunately, half of the information that we now have is wrong. The information about the Galaxy that was data mined is correct. The information about the Cutter wasn't. Not only that, the source that it was revealed from was entirely incorrect in doing so. Let's take a look. Now don't worry, I'm not going to read the whole damn thing out to you, that would be mad. What I will do though is read the key point that they made in Zyloh's post. This week, a member of our team leaked materials by releasing pictures of internal PowerPoint decks. This is far different than data mining a test build that we willingly put out there, and it's far more negatively impactful. An action like this only comes from someone who has no respect for their peers, the project, or the community. In this case, the leakers spread some misinformation, incorrect info that was never meant to be more than a few ideas dreamed up months ago and since changed. But because the leakers threw actual CIG work materials out onto the internet, these leakers have now created unrealistic expectations in some members of the community. And it sucks that we, CIG, will end up disappointing those people this IAE because of it. It's a really interesting kind of post from CIG. I've left the description down in the comments, and have a read, because CIG are pretty realistic in it. They say that they know it's going to happen, that they've got control over what's in the builds, so they know what's going to get data mined when we data mine the builds, because they put it there. They've also said that while they would love for things to be a surprise and for everyone to have that moment when a ship comes out, they realise that data mining is a fact of life, and they've just got to put up with it. This bit is clearly is different, right? Because this information that we have about the Cutter wasn't from something that was data mined. It was from an internal presentation, and that's what they mean by internal PowerPoints, by proprietary information, all those phrases that they use. That stuff should never have made. It's like them releasing internal emails, this stuff, right? It's never for us to see. That's not the point of it. And clearly they're making the distinction. The stuff that's being data mined, they accept that that's going out. This wasn't. And in this case, all the information we had about Cutter was an internal brief that clearly didn't happen. They were pitching ideas for ships, or they were pitching ideas for variants of ships, it seems in this case. That information is incorrect. Unfortunately, this kind of rolls into one of the biggest problems CIG has encountered in its 10 years of being in existence, the setting of expectations. Now, the problem here is whether that occurs through something CIG says, whether it occurs through the community building hype, or whether it occurs just through an individual and their own biases. What has been happening an awful lot is people set unrealistic expectations, and then when they are not fulfilled, we get the usual storm of information on social media, on Spectrum. It becomes a shitstorm, right? Now, this is why CIG truncated the roadmap. This is why now we can only see one patch ahead rather than anything else. And I'm not absolving CIG of any of the blame here. What I would say is that the leaks are going to happen regardless, because we know that ships are going to be announced around the two big sales of the year, which means we're going to go looking for it. If they were to introduce those ships 3 weeks ahead of time and give us some information on them, we'd go looking for that information 3 months before that, and it just gets messy. So there is something, and us content creators have to take responsibility for this as well, because in the world of content creation, he who gets their hands on the information soonest and gets it out to the widest possible audience is the winner, right? That's all the clicks, that's all the views. Clearly, 3 parts to the blame here. There's CIG, the community, and the individual. In the individual, in this instance, I'd say the content creator, right? So you let me know, from what we've seen here, from what you know, even if you have details about previous leaks, where do you think the blame lies? Is this solely on CIG's shoulders? Was this the individual at CIG who chose to leak it? Was this the individual content creator who decided to send it out to everybody else? Is this the community for seizing on it and not remembering that until it's in the game and in our hands and we've had the official information through IRC and everything else, that actually nothing is set in stone? Or is it a mix of all three? One of the interesting things I thought that they brought up here, if we just go back to that for a second, is a bit at the bottom. Okay? Zyloh then goes on to say, separately, I would be remiss if I didn't share with you how much these things hurt morale, especially for the ship developers who have had the intended reveal of their work stripped from them. Having had to persuade a developer that their work isn't ruined in these types of situations, I can tell you firsthand that these types of leaks suck. Now, for me, it's not immediately obvious whether he's talking about just the work product leak or all of them. I would imagine he's talking about the internal leak, right? Because now you are going to have the people who were never going to like the cutter regardless. You're going to have the people who will like it, and that's great. But now you're also going to have the people who would have liked it, who are now not, because it's not what they think they were promised in this leak. And they don't get it because actually it wasn't a leak. It was never intended to be that. It was someone pitching the idea of some variants. But now they're, rightfully I guess, disappointed and really not happy with it. And I kind of feel bad for them as well. Now, on my channel, my gut instinct going forward is to not engage on leaks. The first time, or the last time that I remember doing that, was the Perseus a couple of years ago. Got really excited about the Perseus, posted up some images of it. I just don't think I'm going to do it for a number of reasons. One, I don't want you watching my videos worried that you're going to get a spoiler. Two is that my schedule doesn't always allow me to get the up-to-date news, or if I do get the up-to-date news, I'm not necessarily in a place where I can put a video together for you guys and talk about it anyway, and I would rather put out no news content like that than inconsistent content. Reaction videos like this I'm happy to do, but they might come out a couple days late, like the reaction to Soft Death that I did a couple days ago. If you haven't seen that, link should be appearing somewhere in a corner on a card. You know what to do, go clicky clicky. Why so serious then at the outset of the video? Well, it's simply this. When CIG explicitly set expectations and then failed to meet them, we have every right to be upset and to hold them to account over it. The problem is, these expectations aren't being set by CIG this time. They were set by an individual of the team who did wrong by passing information they shouldn't have to people they knew were going to then get it out to the wider community. Those people that it was leaked to should have known better than to leak actual work product. It's one thing sharing grey box images of ships. It's something else entirely to share internal briefings. And for the rest of us, if we are now disappointed that the cutter is not what was in those slides, well, that wasn't confirmed. That was leaked. And as we're finding out now, any number of things from within the company can be leaked. It doesn't mean that they're definitely happening. It just means they were considered at one time or another. We've seen the effect of expectations not being met in the eyes of the community before, and I'm not necessarily just talking about the reasonable stuff that we've had issue with. Despite saying time and time and time again that what's on the roadmap isn't necessarily set in stone, it doesn't mean it's coming, things can always slip. Despite saying that, every single opportunity they've got, we still threw our toys out of the pram at every change of the roadmap. And because of that, we now are in this situation where we have only one patch ahead. Us constantly allowing expectations to be set from other sources and then getting angry when CIG never promised that is clearly damaging to how much we see development, and we don't want CIG to pull back anymore. And I'm not just saying that as a content creator, I'm saying someone who's passionate about the game. And lastly, I doubt they ever will, but if any of the CIG devs see this, your ships are amazing. It's part of the reason so many of us are invested in this game. We are thankful for all of your work. Please, please, please do not be disheartened. It's going to be an absolutely stunning game when it's released, and you guys are making that happen. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with next. I can't wait to see the cutter at IE on Friday. It's going to be something awesome, I'm sure. Guys, let me know what's going on down in the comments. Have a chat with me, whatever. Do you like this type of video? Did I put you off your lunch by appearing like in person on camera? Because if I did, it's fine. I'll have it. But let me know this sort of reaction. I thought it was going to be better than just having stock footage and talking over the top. I'm trying to step away from that sort of stuff. So let me know what you think. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. It would be great to have you along on this crazy YouTube journey. You've been watching Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.